Oh, well, hello everybody out there in internet land. This is Chris from MajorLegacy.com with another exciting episode of My Talking Head. Two My Talking Head episodes in less than a week. Horror Nights is coming up quickly when that happens. Of course, we had Krampus was announced on Friday, I think it was, and I uploaded the My Talking Head. Was it Monday? I think it was Monday. It was before I had a lot of craziness happen with the YouTube channel, but we are back and we are here. We're going to do a My Talking Head episode for all the original Horror Nights content goodness that was dropped on us yesterday. All original content. We found out that there were going to be 5 scare zones, and they gave us the details on all the scare zones and the 3 original house properties that are coming, as well as the 2 shows. Really, one show we all knew Bill and Ted was coming back, but we have a new show to talk about, so we have a lot to get to, and here we go. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the scare zones, because the scare zones, there are 5 scare zones, so we'll go ahead and talk about those real quick. The first one I want to talk about is Survive or Die. If I had to take a guess, we haven't had any official confirmation as to where these scare zones are going to be, but if I had to take a guess, this is going to be located in the New York area. It is a post-apocalyptic sort of wasteland, and there is a machine. I think it's people are fighting over air or something like that, and it seems like it's kind of a mixture of The Purge meets Saws and Steam a little bit. I wonder if maybe they'll, who knows, maybe they'll tie in whatever this machine is that's, stealing air or whatever it is. Maybe they'll tie it into the machine from Saws and Steam, the one that used to, for those who had not experienced Saws and Steam, either the house or the scare zone, the backstory to it was that you basically signed up for this Horizon thing or whatever. And it was basically a false advertisement for this utopia. But what they were really doing was recruiting people to put them into the machine, which it was called the machine. And basically, you go into the machine, and it draws out the moisture in the human body to power this new dystopian future. So I wonder if maybe this machine will kind of tie into whatever this machine is, stealing air or whatever it is, kind of tie into that whole storyline a bit. I'm spitballing, but it kind of sounds like it could fit that a little bit. Maybe later on down the road, they'll do some kind of, backdoor retrofitting of that storyline somehow. But who knows? But Survive or Die, that's the scare zone. Sounds pretty interesting. I'm kind of curious to see this. I wonder if this was supposed to be another property, but they kind of decided to abandon that and then sort of overlay it with this a little bit. But that's the other thing I want to mention real quick. There are 5 scare zones. I know there's been some speculation about another IP property as a scare zone that could be announced in the near future. I don't think so. It has been confirmed. It says 5 scare zones. I don't think we're going to get any more than 5 scare zones. We will have the roaming hordes, as Aiello alluded to on the Twitter. So I don't think we're going to get a surprise IP property as a scare zone or whatever. We do have one more IP house, but I'll get to that a little bit later. But that covers the first scare zone. The second scare zone we have is A Chance in Hell. Now this is Chance's official scare zone. I've heard a little bit about the scare zone from some people, some sources, and I gotta say I'm not too thrilled with what they're doing here. I think the space is a little bit too small from where I know that they're going to put it, where the scare zone is going to be. Once again, we haven't had official confirmation on where the scare zones are going to be, so I'm just kind of speculating and going off of what I'm hearing from other people. I'm not too thrilled with the scare zone. The Chance overlay in general this year, I'm kind of not feeling it, especially when it comes to her house and her scare zone. I'll get to that a little bit later, but there is, I just don't, this theater thing and the Barker and whatever, it sounds a little bit too much like just kind of a throwaway to me, and which is kind of disappointing. But I mean, they could I can get go to the event and it could wow me or whatever, but that's yet to be seen. So A Chance in Hell, that's Chance's scare zone. The next scare zone is Dead Man's Wharf. This is the one that I am most looking forward to. If I had to guess, Wharf is in the title. Fisherman's Wharf is in San Francisco, and that area is kind of modeled after Fisherman's Wharf. So if I had to take a guess, Dead Man's Wharf will be over in the San Francisco area. It would not surprise me if it was. This one I'm looking forward to. This one has a lot of potential. We saw some of the concept art on the Universal blog that had the, I forgot what the name of the ship was. I didn't write that down on my notes, but I forgot the name of the ship. There's going to be a sort of like a grounded ship with a big hole in the front, and there's going to be ghost fishermen. I'm hearing some things about fish costumes and like all sorts of crazy things. So hopefully lots of fog, maybe a little reminiscent of The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog movie a little bit. Who knows? It seems like they might be taking that as a as an inspirational jumping point, but that has yet to be seen. But this is hands down my most anticipated scare zone for this year. The All Night Die-In scare zone from last year in the same area was actually one of my anticipated scare zones from last year, and that turned out to be very disappointing. So we'll see what happens in this area, because you don't have a house coming out of there anymore. So there's not going to be, a whole bunch of people coming out and, it gets all crowded and whatever, and the picture taking and whatnot and the nonsense. So hopefully this one does live up to expectations. I am very looking forward to Dead Man's Wharf. We'll see. The next one I want to talk about is Banshee's Lair. Banshee's Lair, if I had to guess, is going to be located in the Central Park area. It talks about vines and it talks about, a forest and things like that. That's the only area I can think of that could really fit that bill. So who knows, unless they put it somewhere else and create their own trees and things like that. I mean, that's also possible. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do believe that this is going to be over in the Central Park area. This one's kind of a toss-up for me. The area, the Central Park area always lends itself to very atmospheric scare zones, and this one sounds like that they're going to take that and run with it a little bit. Almost like what they did with Evil's Roots last year. It fit so well over in Central Park, and that area does lend itself to a lot of a lot of atmosphere, and based on the concept, it sounds like it could be interesting. So I'm excited to see this scare zone. What I'm not excited about is having the possible show in that area right before you get into the Central Park area and the Mel's area. We'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, so Banshee's Lair, that looks, it sounds like it could be interesting. I just hope it doesn't get too crowded. The last scare zone that we have 5 scare zones, is Vamp 1955. Now, I heard about this a little bit from a friend of mine before they announced it. And the first thing, it was not made clear to me that there were going to be greaser vampires. But when I heard that there were going to be vampires in the 1950s, the first thing that popped into my head was greaser vampires, and I am so happy that is actually going to be the case, because I'm down for that, man. That sounds like such a cool little mishmash of the culture of the 1950s, and also bringing in the vampire element, poodle skirts, and it's in a good area too if it's in Hollywood, because it fits, because that's my guess, it would be in the Hollywood area, because it does in the description, it actually says Hollywood, so I'm going to guess it's going to be in Hollywood. So unless, I have not checked the Twitter today. I didn't check Orlando's Twitter feed. I'm not sure if Aiello revealed where the locations for these things would be or not. So I'm going off of what I heard yesterday. So the description, it does say Hollywood. So I'm assuming that it's going to be in the Hollywood area. And putting it, near the Mel's area is a good move, because American Graffiti, man, 1950s, all that stuff, it fits that vibe so well. And I'm really excited to see some greaser vampires. The other thing that comes to mind is Shia LaBeouf from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull running around as a vampire. That kind of makes me giggle a little bit. But yeah, so those are the 5 scare zones. And like I alluded to earlier, Aiello mentioned that there are going to be roaming hordes as well. And I do think that we're gonna get probably another the Clown Chainsaw people running around in Springfield, because they did tie for Scare Zone of the Year last year, so I would not doubt if they bring those guys back. They were a lot of fun. So we'll see if the Clown Chainsaw guys come back, and whatever other roaming hordes that they have, coming, could be, whatever. And I'm going to run out of time, because I've been recording this stuff in true HD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate My Talking Head video for the houses. We're going to talk about the houses. And yeah, that's it, guys. Look for the My Talking Head video on the houses coming up in just a few minutes.